Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. You can see I'm in a different location. I'm actually in my office, and that's because I need my computer for today's video. One of my absolute favorite videos to prepare for and talk about with you guys is my anticipated releases of the year. And I get so excited about new books, but I don't read a lot of new releases. So looking back to 2020, I did a whole 2020 stats for the year, and I did the kinds of books I was reading, my ratings, what age group I was reading, when it was published, genres, things I participated in, and different things like that. And I was looking over the stats and I realized I really read so few 2020 releases. And every single year I put out this most anticipated book releases of the year, but then I actually don't read a lot of them. I did make a spread earlier last year. I started my bullet journal in January, so it was like a whole new thing. I did a anticipated releases little calendar there, and I wrote in some of the things I talked about. Lucky Caller, didn't read that. So the only ones I really read that actually made it to the spread, I read The Dilemma by B.A. Paris. I read Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman. I read The Two Lives of Lydia Bird by Josie Silver. I have The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren on my TBR still. I read He Started It. Let's see what else. Take a Hint, Danny Brown. Home Before Dark. And yeah, that's it. So I read 6 books out of the 21. So I read 6 of 21 that I was anticipating, which isn't a lot. So this year I wanted to break down my most anticipated again for you. But before we do that, I wanted to just talk to you about how my reading normally goes. So last year in 2020, I read 37 new releases. So in the year 2020, all throughout that year, I only read 37 books that came out in 2020. And I read 14 books that came out in 2019. I read 25 books that came out in 2018. I read 8 books that came out in 2017. And I read 42 books that came out before 2017. So if we combine my 2019, 2018, 2017, and before 2017, that's a lot. And I just realized I never did add my December stats to this yet. So it's a little inaccurate, but we're going with it. Basically, I read the majority backlist titles than I do new releases. And I realize being on YouTube, I should probably be talking about the new releases a little bit more. So what I did this year is I made a little goal for myself to read 12 new releases in the hopes, again, that I'm going to read like 24. But I did a little goals page under my 2021 stats page, and I did lay it out a little bit different this year. I decided not to track certain things. So I'm still doing the kinds of books, the rating, the age group, when it was published, the genre, and then I have 3 goals over here. So my goals for 2021 is to read 6 classics, 12 book of the months, and 12 new releases. Again, in the hopes that I actually read more than this, but since I'm concentrating on it, at least read this many. So today I'm going to be talking to you about releases that I'm super excited for, my most anticipated releases from January to May. There are a lot of books that I'm looking forward to this year, and I'm really excited about ones past May, but I figured I could do 3 videos this year. I could do January through May, and then I could do my summer anticipated releases, and I could do my end of the year anticipated releases. So hopefully you're excited about all of that, because I know that books move around in publication, like, oh, it was going to release now, but now it's going to. So I'm hoping by breaking it down a little bit that it will be more accurate. Basically, we're here to break down my most anticipated book releases for 2021 from January until May. And like I said, there will be 2 other videos this year talking about anticipated releases. So I have all of the information here on my computer. I think it's up to date. In January, Across the Green Grass Fields by Shauna McGuire is the 6th book in the Wayward Children series. I've read all of the other books, and I still think my favorite is the 2nd book. And I think this is the final book in the series. Is that true, guys? I'm not ready for it to be over. It's kind of like that release that I'm always looking forward to. But this one is Hooflands. That's the world that we travel to. And I'm just really, really excited about that one. Next on my list for January, it comes out on the 19th as well, is Shipped by Amy Hockman. And this is kind of like a unhoneymooners vibe, hate to love. And I've already pre-ordered this one, so really excited. And I'm going to have a link to my want to read shelf on Goodreads down in the description box for you. So if you want to get any more information on any of these books, you can definitely check that link and it will take you right to my want to read shelf. And it's going to have books throughout all of 2021 that I'm looking forward to. But you can go ahead and look at that page and find a like more in-depth synopsis of these. It would just be way too long for me to say every single thing. Next up, also on the 19th, is Enjoy the View by Sarah Morgenthaler. This is the 3rd book in the Moose Springs, Alaska series by Sarah Morgenthaler. Romance between New Girl River and Easton, Graham's best friend, and I am so excited. Next up, so I have pre-ordered Shipped, Enjoy the View, and this next one I'm going to talk about that comes out on the 26th of January, and that is The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. You guys know that I love podcasts. I started a podcast in 2020 with my friend Jacqueline. It was my idea. I started the podcast. I asked her, hey, can you co-host this with me? And she graciously accepted. And now we're co-hosts of my podcast. So this one is kind of like a podcast thing where their bosses propose that these 2 exes deliver relationship advice on the air. And it's just so, I'm just really looking forward to it because you guys know I love hate to love. And then it just becomes this must listen podcast in Seattle. So that's January. For February, I have The Project by Courtney Summers, which has cultish vibes. And it's about a sister looking for her sister. Yeah. And then next up on the 2nd, I have Makeup Breakup by Lily Menon. And this is another hate to love. It's steamy, hilarious. It's rival app developers falling in love. This one sounds really, really good. On February 4th, Open Water by Caleb Azuma Nelson. And it's about 2 Black artists falling in and out of love. And this, just the synopsis of this is what I wanted Normal People to be by Sally Rooney, like in my head. But I think this one is going to be so much more my speed. So 2 young people meet at a pub in Southeast London. Both are Black British. Both won scholarships to private schools where they struggle to belong. Both are now artists. He's a photographer. She's a dancer. And I just think it's going to be a beautiful love story. It's going to have a potent insight to race and masculinity. And oh my gosh. Next up in February, I am really looking forward to Game Changer by Neil Shusterman. This is one where a football player gets hit in a game and he is projected into a different, what is it called? A different alternate dimension. That's the word. An alternate dimension. And it is a YA story, and I don't read a lot of those, but I really trust Neil Shusterman, and I'm really excited about this one. Next up is another YA story, and this is about, it's called All Girls by Emily Landon, and this one is about 9 young women navigating their ambitions, friendships, and fears against the backdrop of a scandal in administration. They wanted that scandal silenced. So yeah, very interesting. On the 23rd, one of the most crazy sounding books ever is The Marriage Pass by Brianna Cole. And I need to read this. So it is about a couple celebrating their 1-year wedding anniversary, and they give each other a free pass to indulge in their deepest desires. What? And the man, Graham, he gets a chance to spend the night with his wife's little sister. I am like, how can this be good? Like, how can this ever like be a love story? But I am so here for it. And the cover is so striking. Like, I am so excited about this one. I mean, it's one I'm really excited about. Can you tell? All right, so next up, Same Day, Quiet in Her Bones by Nalina Singh. It's basically socialite Nina Ray disappeared 10 years ago with $250,000 in cash, leaving everyone to assume it was because she was tired of her husband. Now her bones have been found in the forest that surrounds her elite neighborhood. Very interesting. Next up, this one. Okay, this one you're gonna think, Gwen, are you really gonna read this? But I'm actually really interested in it. It is The Kitchen Front by Jennifer Ryan, and it's supposed to come out on February 23rd. And this is about a group of women, the Chilbury Ladies Choir, where 4 women compete for a spot hosting a wartime cookery program called The Kitchen Front. And it is, it's historical fiction, 2 years into World War II. This kind of all takes place, and the BBC radio program The Kitchen Front is putting on a cooking contest, and these women are competing, and it talks about the 4 different women. And it is like a young widow, and like, let's see, there's a chance to escape her wealthy husband's increasing hostile behavior. And then for a trained chef, it's a chance to challenge the men at the top of her profession. Like, all of this stuff, and I think it's like historical fiction / literary fiction, which you guys know is not my genre, but like the competition aspect of this, I think this will be a really good one to pick up outside my comfort zone. Let me know what you think. Next up, another book kind of outside my comfort zone, but like kind of not, is The First Day of Spring by Nancy Tucker. And I have heard that this one is thrilling and riveting. It's about, it's kind of like a then and now situation. So an 8-year-old girl commits an unspeakable act. And I was actually reading some early reviews of this, and I guess this girl like chokes and kills another kid. And of course that has an effect on the rest of her life, especially once she has children of her own. So Chrissy is 8 years old and she has a secret. She just killed the boy. The feeling of it made her belly fizz like soda pop. And 20 years later, Chrissy is living in hiding under a changed name. A single mother, she cares deeply for her own daughter. And yeah, oh my gosh, it just says Nancy Tucker leaves the reader breathless as she considers what happens when innocence and survival instincts collide. This one sounds like, if you have small children, you're definitely not going to want to read it, but if you're in for a wild ride, I think you might really like it. Those are my February anticipated releases. All right, coming up in March, Every Last Fear by Alex Finley. I actually received this in ARC and I have not read it yet, but I'm hoping to this year. So this is a psychological thriller. It has true crime documentary vibes and stuff like that in it. Also, it's like family. Act Your Age, Evie Brown by Talia Hibbert. Do I even need to say, like, her second book in the series was my favorite book of 2020, and Evie Brown is the flightiest Brown sister. She crashes into the life of an uptight B&B owner and has him falling hard, literally. So I just think it's gonna be like great writing. It's gonna make me laugh. It's gonna make me swoon, and I'm just gonna be like here for it. And March 16th, Our Last Echoes by Kate Alice Marshall. And this is a collection of found documents and written confessionals. And yeah, it just sounds like it's going to be like part true crime. And then you have Every Value Break by Peter Swanson. And I have a love-hate relationship with Peter Swanson, but this one really does have me intrigued, partly because of the cover, partly because of the synopsis, and the cover of the book and the synopsis both remind me of The Guest List by Lucy Fowley, which I absolutely loved. So in this one, it has like major Fatal Attraction vibes. On her bachelorette weekend, Abigail sleeps with a sexy mystery man and quickly comes to regret it when he shows up on her honeymoon. So, what? And then on the 23rd, The Lost Village by Camilla Stein. In 1959, documentary filmmaker Alice's grandmother's family disappeared along with nearly everyone else in a mining town dubbed The Lost Village. Now Alice is taking a crew to the site in the hopes of making a film about the strange event. So, very excited about that. Moving on into April, I have The Drowning Kind by Jennifer McMahon, and I have The Winter People on my TBR, but I have not read it yet. And this is about a woman who returns to the old family home after her sister mysteriously drowns in a swimming pool. And this reminds me of Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. So, we shall see if I like this one. Next up is What You Never Knew by Jessica Hamilton. This one comes out on April 13th, and this is a debut, but I think I want to take a chance on it. It's told in alternating points of view between the living and the dead. So you have 40-year-old June Bennett inherits Averil Island after the death of her sister, an island she believed was sold when she was 12. But when she returns to the island to grieve for her sister, she learns that the people there believe her father murdered someone before taking off. Next up, another one that I'm really looking forward to. This reminds me of like Daisy Jones and the Six kind of, and this one comes out on April 20th, and it's a band, like a duo maybe, of fame in the 1970s. So it's called The Final Revival of Opal and Nev by Donnie Walton. And it says a poignant fictional oral history of the beloved rock and roll duo who shot to fame in the 1970s New York and the dark fraught secret that lies at the peak of their stardom. On the 20th, we have Mirrorland by Caroline Johnson, and this is a thrilling work of psychological suspense, twists of Gone Girl, and the haunting emotional power of Room. It's a story of twin sisters, the man they both love, and the dark childhood they can't leave behind. There's a lot in May. All right, so the first one comes out on May 4th, and it's The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joan He. She awoke on an abandoned island 3 years ago with no idea how she marooned. She only has a rickety house, an old android, and a single memory. She has a sister, and she needs to find her. And I absolutely love the cover of this one. Next, another super anticipated release is the next novel by Emily Henry, the author of Beach Read. And this one comes out on the 11th of May. Two best friends, Poppy and Alex, and they have nothing in common, yet their bond is unshakable. And then they go on a vacation that's disastrous, and it basically ends their friendship. But then Poppy has a plan, and they're going to take one more trip for old time's sake, and I bet you they fall in love. Also, on the 11th, I don't know why I'm anticipating this other than the synopsis, because I don't really like the cover, and I've never read anything by this author before, even though I think I do have like 1 or 2 books on my bookshelf by this author. I think I'm really gonna like Switch by A.S. King. Apparently, I have been talking way too long and my camera shut off. So hopefully I'm picking up where it left off. So yeah, the Switch sounds really crazy, but something I could possibly really love. Next up on May 18th is The Hunting Wives by May Cobb. And this color is gonna be a turnoff for a lot of people, but the premise sounds cool. So Sophie O'Neill, quiet rural life is completely upended after she moves with her family from Chicago to Texas, and she becomes friends with a glamorous woman whose alluring hunting club may be responsible for the death of a teen girl. On the 18th also, Local Woman Missing by Mira Kubika comes out. A whole bunch of people go missing, and then 11 years later one of the missing girls returns and everyone wants to know what happened to her. On the 18th, The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren comes out, and basically ever since like Josh and Hazel's Guide, The Unhoneymooners, I've been picking up everything by Christina Lauren. And this one is about single mom Jess Davis is a data and statistic wizard, and then she hears about this genetic Dally. It's like a buzzy new DNA based matchmaking company. So it's kind of giving me a little bit of like the One, how there's like this genetically matched thing. And the tests show of a 98 compatibility with another subject in the database. The founder of the actual DNA based matchmaking company. And yeah, I think that's going to be very, very interesting. It says, funny, warm, and full of heart, the soulmate equation proves that the delicate balance between fate and choice can ever be calculated. Our super, super anticipated release, the new book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, comes out on May 25th, Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I don't care what it's about. She's a freaking queen. She's my favorite author. Set during one fateful night in the 1980s, Malibu Rising chronicles an end-of-summer bash thrown by the wealthy Riva family and the ways in which it changes the course of each of the 4 siblings' lives. So excited. The cover, no matter which cover you get, you are getting a freaking masterpiece. And I am so freaking excited. Please do not let me down. I'm not sure about the title of this one. I have heard it called this, but on Goodreads, it's just like a blank cover and the author is coming out with a new book. But I think it's going to be called The Hopeless and the Romantic by Meryl Wilsner. And a woman who doesn't believe in love and hopeless romantic start a dating podcast only to discover nothing tops the charts like the real deal. And yeah, that wraps up my most anticipated releases from January to May. Let me know if any of these sound good to you. I'm sorry it was a bit all over the place. My camera was acting up. I'm filming in a new location. I was looking at my computer a lot. But yeah, I'm just really looking forward to like so many books in 2021. And yeah, I thought I would break it down, like I said, into 3 different parts. So this is January through May. Next up, you'll see one closer to summer with all my anticipated summer releases. And then towards the end of summer, I'll do my most anticipated releases for the end of the year. So yeah, so that wraps up this video. Don't forget to check the description box to find a link to my want to read shelf on Goodreads, so you can get like a full synopsis of any of these books if they sound interesting, like briefly to you at all, and in case I butchered a name or a title or something like that, or the dates change and so forth. You can always check the link, and yeah, it will have all of the information there. But that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.